Hello everyone, I'm Renowned Zero, and we are back again talking about my thoughts on the announcement for the PS5 Pro. Now, I honestly believe that the PS5 Pro is an absolute waste of money with very minuscule graphical upgrades. An extra terabyte of storage, which you won't obviously get the full amount of space, but it seems to me that there are people out there that want to wholeheartedly defend this piece of garbage hardware and this absolutely terrible price for this piece of product. It is by far the most expensive console that has ever been put out on the market ever in the history of home console generations. At this point, you might as well just buy a mid-level PC that would outdo the PS5 Pro by a long shot. Let's go ahead over here to IGN, who says the PS5 Pro at $700. Lack of competition made it an easier decision for Sony to run with higher price, which is obviously a cop-out for weirdo, terrible journalists over at IGN, trying to blame the competition of Microsoft or even Nintendo Switch, because in all honesty, I think Nintendo Switch has the greatest value as far as exclusive games and games that are actually, good. Any Nintendo game would destroy any garbage Sony game being put out this generation. Every single game is an absolute banger when it comes to exclusives over on Nintendo. But let's go ahead and read this article. Perhaps the biggest talking point from Sony's PS5 Pro review is its price. At $700 and without a disc drive or stand, which when you get the disc drive, that's $80, the stand being $30, you're looking at around $810 before tax, which will get it pretty dang close to $900. The PS5 Pro sparked vociferous debate online about whether Sony is justified in setting such a high price for the mid-gen upgrade. I honestly hate when articles do this. IGN readers have already had their say on the PS5 Pro's $700 cost, but what enables Sony to be so bold with its pricing? According to one prominent analyst, there are a number of factors that have contributed to Sony going for $700 and relatively even higher in Europe and Japan. Piers Harding-Rolls games industry analyst at Ampere said the PS5 Pro pricing reflects Sony's adjusted strategy to protect its margin. That is, it is unwilling to sell consoles at a loss and continue to put their games on PC, so they no longer have any exclusives. So all your games belong to PC. PC wins in the end. Supply chain inflation and crucially a lack of direct competitor to its mid-cycle upgrade compared to last generation, where Microsoft was preparing the Xbox One X, which they now own the biggest franchise of all time, which is Call of Duty. Well, multi-plat franchise anyway. The lack of competition means it is an easier decision for Sony to run with a higher price point to protect its existing margins. Harding-Rolls added, for most prospective PS5 consumers, the standard edition will represent the value sweet spot. And again, you are telling all your physical owners to go screw themselves with this piece of junk here. You might as well go to PC, since every game's going to PC, including the most recent releases that will be God of War Ragnarok, Final Fantasy 16, and Until Dawn, and soon enough, Stellar Blade will be also on PC. Those great mods are coming. It's worth digging into this point. During the last generation, Microsoft took on Sony's dominant PS4 with a number of Xbox One variants, including the more powerful Xbox One X. Back in 2017, when the Xbox One X launched, and with the PS4 Pro already a year old, Microsoft sold it to consumers as the world's most powerful console, which it was, with 40% more power than any other console on the market. Xbox One X is where console gamers can play the best versions of games, and of course have true backwards compatibility, unlike trash-ass Soyny. The lack of competition means it is an easier decision for Sony to run with a higher price point to protect existing margins, because of course Sony is always losing money on their flops, including their most recent one in Concord. But let's not, talk about that. Over on Smash JT, an epic swing and a miss from Sony. Sony officially announced the PS5 Pro, a mid-generation upgrade that will hit the shelves on November 7th with the price tag of a whopping $699, going upwards of $850 to $900, maybe even into the realm of $1,100 in some regions. With this release, they're aiming to deliver smoother frame rates, higher display resolutions, and better ray tracing, promising a console that outperforms the original PS5 by leaps and bounds. However, the biggest question we should all be asking is at what cost? and the same price for an underwhelming upgrade. At $700 without a disc drive, the PS5 Pro costs as much as a decent gaming PC, a PC that's upgradable and future-proof. And if the eye-watering price wasn't enough, Sony has decided to charge an additional $80 for a separate 4K Blu-ray disc drive. Yeah, the disc drive isn't even included in the base price because, of course, they're trying to phase out the people who purchase physical games. And most times, physical games go on sale way more often and have lower, bigger price drops versus their digital counterparts. Which physical games nowadays, they're pretty much worthless because you have to download part of the game anyway. Anything past pretty much the 360 and PS3 era, you're pretty much screwed over as far as physical games is concerned. For the price of a PS5 Pro and a separate disc drive, consumers could easily invest in a gaming PC that not only matches the performance but also offers more flexibility in terms of upgrades and versatility. This lackluster value proposition is only going to push more gamers towards the so-called PC master race. Put it bluntly, a build for about $1,300, which of course there are ones that will be cheaper. You could easily build something for around $750 that will do pretty much everything that the PS4 5 Pro can do, possibly even better. There are people there are people out there that will find ways to build it for you. But of course, you have these Soyny Ponies or PlayStation fanboys out here talking about big bad Sony, though, with the RTX 4090, which you do not need for gaming. You can easily get an AMD, Radeon XT 6800, or the ROG Ally, which of course they show it in euros or pounds here. You don't need to get the 1 terabyte. You really don't need to get the 1 terabyte. It's funny how they go for the more advanced, the more expensive one. But this one is obviously dumb because this is a limited edition console that you really can't get anywhere else. And of course, you have the $700, basically no real incremental, no real huge, upgrade from the previous one. You got this clown over here, Unisensei, saying, save you a math, the PS5 Pro being $700, have no issues with Xbox releasing a discless Series X for $600 with zero power increase and most importantly, barely any system selling games. Yes, because Halo and Gears of War absolutely don't destroy every game that Sony's ever made. Also, Forza Horizon 5 is way better than Gran Turismo, and Forza has been better than Gran Turismo since probably Forza Motorsport 4. Gran Turismo cannot compete with Forza at all. It's because they still have the $600 one with the disc drive, which also has a 2 terabyte hard drive. Who cares? PS5 Pro's garbage. And then it comes with a disc drive that has 2 terabytes of space. Something that I don't have to pay $700 for a minuscule graphical upgrade at all. And I can get Game Pass and have hundreds of games for $20 a month. So I can play Call of Duty when it comes out in November for $20 a month rather than paying $70. $700 and no disc drive. Okay, so you have people buying, of course, the vertical stand for $30 and, of course, the disc drive for $80, which, again, is silly within itself, but I'm never going to tell anybody what they can and can't spend their money on, but I find it to be extremely silly that you're spending $700 on a console to not get no disc drive. Console fanboy's gonna console fanboy. I don't get how it's okay, this is from Porter Rock, to sell a $1,500 plus GPU. By the way, this is a third-party seller, obviously, to which the market's probably triple the cost of what it actually takes to build a PS5 Pro, which maybe make $50 in profit. Apparently, console gamers aren't allowed to get better hardware. You really ain't getting that much of better hardware. You're getting a minuscule upgrade, which, again, you can build a PC for around $700 to $750. People have already proven it. Time and time again, PS5 Pro is trash and a ripoff. $700 ain't much. If it is too much for you, then stick with your PS5. This is, again, one of those things, kind of like what Don Matrix said. If you can't afford to have always online with the Xbox One, we have a console for you. It's called the 360. Yeah, that definitely worked out for Xbox when they did that nonsense. If you were smart, you trade in your PS5 and get it for $499. But hey, I can't think for all of y'all. Well, you can't really think much at all because you're not very intelligent anyway. Soyny Ponies are such losers because they absolutely are. People need to stop crying, says Heliovax. Video games are expensive. They aren't toys anymore. They cost millions and millions of dollars to make, and gamers think we can get them for cheap as wild. Meanwhile, people can make remasters of old games like Shadows of the Damned for $25. I wonder how that makes any sense. How they can just do a remaster out of nowhere and keep everything the same, and it's $25. Lollipop Chainsaw comes out tomorrow, $45 for a complete remaster, having to keep the game the exact same way and have everything intact minus some obviously licensed music. That's beside the point. And I say this is a cop-out. Most of those expensive video games come out broken as crap at launch. Spider-Man 2 cost $300 million to make, and it was a buggy piece of garbage out the gate. And people like this expect gamers to pay $70 for absolute garbage. These people really sit up here and think that we should be paying for absolute dog water when I can sit here and emulate old school games that are way better, less buggy, easier to obtain, and I can play them at 4K or even 1440p at over 60 FPS. But yeah, big, huge games as they decide to delete Concord, the biggest flop in gaming history, from people's libraries because of course Soyny wants to absolutely make it so that you never knew this game existed because it was an absolute piece of garbage that they spent 8 years and $250 million on to give you a piece of dog turd with this garbage game. So, oh yeah, games are so expensive. How about not give me a game that isn't complete dog water? Or give me a watered down experience of God of War, because the original God of Wars were actually good games, whereas the new ones you just hold your hand a lot. And it's just like every other generic third-person over-the-shoulder game, when Sony's literally sitting on IPs like Killzone, SOCOM, Resistance, and things like that. But they want to give you this garbage in Concord. That's a great thing you helped develop, because, Sony didn't totally screw over the people who were playing Helldivers 2. That game was really fun, and then they screwed it up by telling everybody to go F themselves, and they had problems with the game where they were nerfing everything that they didn't need to nerf in a PvE only game. Yeah. Sony has been on a downward spiral since the PS3 days. Now, don't get me wrong, the PS3 had great games, but nothing beats the PS2 days of Sony. Nothing beats the PlayStation 2 days, and I haven't purchased a PlayStation since that era of gaming because it really hasn't been worth it. Everything I've got a PS3 secondhand. Everything I've gotten for PlayStation 3 secondhand. Don't care about PS4. Don't care about PS5. It's definitely not now, because all your games belong, of course, to PC eventually. Thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, and returning viewers. If you do like this video, hit the like button. Comment below if you feel about all this. Subscribe for more content. Let me know if you guys are going to pick up a PS5 Pro in the comment section down below. Subscribe for more content. Hit the bell for notifications. Set the bell to all. That way you'll get a notification anytime I post a new video or live stream. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.